Hey bitch, and welcome back to another Let's Judge Horse Trainers video. It's been a while since I've sat down to make one of these. As you guys know, the purpose of these videos is so that way when I leave YouTube, you guys have references for great, amazing riders, and we can judge trainers together, see who you should be taking advice from, who's legitimate and who's not, because there are so many fake internet trainers these days. You really have to be careful about whose advice you listen to, especially when it comes to your safety, your horse's safety, and your training. But today is very exciting. This is actually going to be one of my only biased Let's Judge Horse Trainers videos. Today, I want to react to my all-time favorite trainer on the internet. This is a woman who I don't know, I've never spoken to her, but has helped me out so much with my riding personally. I love her. She's like my internet lesson instructor. Every single question I have regarding my riding, she answers. It really doesn't matter what style you ride. I honestly think that this channel is my favorite equestrian trainer, lesson instructor, help with your riding, whatever channel. If you're looking for help, she's the go-to. So who are we reacting to today? We are reacting to Amelia Newcomb Dressage. Amelia has about 125,000 subscribers and 764 videos, all of which are amazing and super informative. She's also really active in the comments. I've seen her respond to tons of people who have questions about their riding or need help with their riding. So let's go to the description, shall we? We're here to help you gain confidence and make progress in your riding journey. We offer both free resources and paid courses to educate you. With the correct training principles and exercises, you can and will become the rider you have always dreamed of. Amelia Newcomb is a competitive Grand Prix rider and trainer who has trained multiple horses from youngsters all the way up to Grand Prix level. Amelia is dedicated to helping you achieve your dressage goals by providing you with the skills and education you need. I want to help everyone along this journey to improve and develop with their horse. This channel includes tips and exercises to help you with your rider position, test riding, dressage training exercises, dressage theory, and even groundwork and basic training exercises. Good luck and stick with it. I believe in you and your horse. God, she's amazing. When I tell you that this woman has single-handedly produced some of the most helpful riding videos I've ever seen, I'm not kidding. There were periods of time in my personal riding journey where I really struggled throughout my dressage lessons, English and Western riding. And I really needed that additional education or information, or to be able to see somebody else do what I need to be able to learn how to do. Now, obviously, I haven't seen every single video she's produced. I would highly doubt she's produced anything even remotely controversial. For the most part of the several hundreds of videos that I've seen, she just is great. I've never had any bad experiences with her training, and I've also been able to implement her same training methods without spurs, without bits, with the current tack that I use that I consider to be a bit more ethical, because I know that Amelia does ride in bits, which is fine. I have my disagreements there, so I want to go ahead and get that out of the way, but there's only so much you can ask for in trainers. I think Amelia overall is a fantastic trainer for literally anybody, no matter what style you ride, whether it's Western, English, whatever. She is great. So today we are going to be watching one of her most helpful videos ever. I get a lot of people who ask me personally how to work on Topline, and a lot of my videos where I talk about how we're currently working on Topline are based off of a lot of Amelia's tactics, which again are not original to her, but she's fantastic at demonstrating them and simplifying them for you to be able to easily replicate. So today we are going to be reacting to Amelia Newcomb Dressage Training and Nutrition for Your Horse's Topline.
I like to practice the walk, trot, walk transitions on a circle when you're working on building up your horse's top line, because on the circle here, I can really focus on my diagonal aids. So I'm focusing on keeping him off my right leg and into my left rein. And what that does is it helps to engage his top line. Hello everyone, today's video is about how to build your horse's top line. So first I'm going to start off of my horse, kind of talking through what is the top line, how to develop it. Then I'm going to get on and I'm going to show you two really good exercises to help build your horse's top line. So first of all, what is your horse's top line? Why is it important? When we talk about our horse's top line, it's just what it sounds like. So it's all of the muscles that go basically from the top of the tail up through the loin area, through their withers, through their back and withers, and then up to the poll. So this is your horse's top line. And the reason that we want to develop our horse's top line is, for one, because we're sitting on their back. And so when there's muscle here, your horse is better able to carry your weight. If your horse has no top line muscles, you're basically just sitting right on their bones. So like you're sitting on their, not on their spine, but you're sitting on their spine and their ribs, and it can be uncomfortable for your horse. I've had a few young horses that when they're young and they're really skinny and you're basically just sitting on their bones, they get quite sore in their back because they don't have the muscle to carry you.
One thing I want to add on to this as well, her videos are super helpful and informative because they help people to understand very basic concepts that everyone should understand, but some people struggle with. And top line is one of the #1 things that I see neglected, and it's one of the easiest things to regularly train. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to do top line work in training, and or they just think that it's unnecessary. That's why you see so many horses that don't have a developed top line. They're not well balanced. They're not stepping underneath themselves. And in turn, they start developing serious behavioral problems because they lack that muscle structure, which makes riding significantly more uncomfortable or painful for them.
Another one is that when your horse's top line muscles are strong, it's a lot easier for them to do the movement. So it's a lot easier for them to do transitions. It's a lot easier for them to do bending lines like curves and circles. And they're just a lot more pleasant to ride when they are correctly using their top line. So a couple of things that you want to look for to kind of be able to tell whether or not your horse's top line is developed. The first thing is that some horses have a naturally better developed top line than others. For example, I feel like PREs in general look stronger in their top line, as opposed to thoroughbreds a lot of times look weaker in their top line. So the best way to tell whether or not your horse is developing their top line is to take progress photos. Like, I recommend taking a photo of your horse, I would say about every 6 months or a year, so that you can compare your particular horse rather than comparing your horse's top line to another horse. The other place that I really look for top line development is in their neck. So you'd like to see muscle up here in the top part of their neck, and you want to see that this under neck here is not so developed. So some horses have what we call a U neck, or a big bulging muscle down here on their under neck. That's not a good thing, because that's going to lend itself to your horse wanting to invert and hollow all the time. So you want to really see that in their neck that there's nice development up here, and that there's not so much development here on the under neck. The other place that I always pay attention to in their top line is in their back here. So Kensington, actually, here's a good story. About a year ago, I was doing 4th level and I was trying to move Kensington up to the pre-St. George level. And I was just having a lot of trouble kind of getting the muscling and the top line on Kensington. And what I realized after meeting with a nutritionist is that Kensington wasn't getting the protein that he needed to develop the muscle. So when you want to develop your horse's top line, it's two things. One is the nutrition and what you're feeding them. And then 2 is the work that you're doing. It's just like us. If we want to go to the gym and become a bodybuilder, you're so cute, Kensington. You have to do the work, and you also have to eat correctly.
I really hate interrupting her because she's just so informative and so easy to listen to. But firstly, I want to say that I absolutely love how she addresses the differences in muscle structure, natural muscle structure between horse breeds. Because, for example, Link does not have a very well-developed muscle structure in his neck or a naturally buff top line. And you can really see that when you compare Link's top line, which, keep in mind, he's a thoroughbred quarter horse cross, to Braylee's top line, and she is a full-bred Friesian. But Braylee's neck muscles are completely different structure. With Link, I find that certain horse breeds, such as Link's breeds, are much more difficult to maintain that muscle structure. So you do have to make sure that you're regularly doing top line exercises. It's kind of the same thing as like if you go to the gym and you work out and you build up nice muscle tone, and then you just stop going to the gym and you lose that muscle tone. Some people are able to retain muscle tone for significantly longer periods of time, or that might just be their natural body build, and other people are not able to retain muscle for a long time. If they have a thinner body build, it's easier for them to lose that muscle tone if they stop working out. So that's kind of how I compare the two, but it's not to say that horses that do have a naturally well-developed top line and neck muscles should not also be consistently worked at that as well. But you just shouldn't compare the two, because Link has actually a really nice top line, but in comparison to Braylee, they look completely different. Furthermore, I do want to emphasize the importance of nutrition. I mean, she really hits the nail on the head here, because I see so many horses and animals in general that are seriously lacking in proper nutrition. Nutrition is so important no matter what food you feed, you guys. You really need to make sure that your animals are getting a balanced diet on any feed, which brings me to today's sponsor. I want to say a huge thank you to Animal Nutrition Calculator for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are unfamiliar, Animal Nutrition Calculator helps you master your animal's nutrition in literally less than 5 minutes, no matter what food you feed. They have the most amazing nutrition calculators available for horses, dogs, cats, small pets, birds, fish, and now exotic, which just launched a few days ago. For those of you who are unfamiliar, most small pets and exotic animals, not to mention birds and fish, don't actually have nutritionally complete and balanced diets sold commercially. Most commercial diets actually lead to malnutrition. So one thing that Animal Nutrition Calculator does for animals such as exotic pets is they put together specific diets and appropriate food items that can be fed to your animal. So that way you know exactly what your animal should be eating to get a balanced diet. And you're not relying on commercial-based food products, which oftentimes are not nutritionally complete and again lead to malnutrition or other health problems. But recently I've been using the cold weather calculator because we're moving into fall and winter and it's a lot colder outside. Both of the horses have different nutritional needs with the changing seasons, so it has just been perfect. All of their calculators are just $4.99, literally cheaper than a cup of coffee. A big thanks to Animal Nutrition Calculator again for sponsoring today's video. You guys can check them out. The first 100 people get a 25% off any calculator, so that link is going to be the first one in the description down below.
He's really filled out like a lot here. He also used to have like kind of a little bit of a hunter bump, and his butt was like really pointy. So he's really filled out a lot through here. And another benefit is that he's not getting as sore in his back. So as he's developed the correct muscle, he no longer gets as sore. He used to get like really sore right here in his lower back. So that's a little bit about top lines. I'm gonna get on now and I'm gonna show you two really great exercises that you can do under saddle to help build your horse's top line. Does that sound good, Kensington? Now that you've seen Kensington's beautiful top line, you're gonna get to see Mr. Kensington in action. I'm gonna give you 2 simple exercises to help build your horse's top line. That said, it's important that you do these exercises correctly, otherwise you could be building the wrong muscles. So, wake up Mr. Kensington. Kensington thinks he can just be a model today. Little does he know he has to work. The first exercise to build your horse's top line is walk, trot, walk transitions, or really any kind of transition. But what's really important is to build your horse's top line through transitions is you really want to make sure that your horse maintains the same frame. So that you get your horse walking forward, that your horse is round and on the bit. So you can see how this muscle in the top part of his neck, when he's on the bit, you can see how the muscle in the top part of his neck is engaged and that under neck muscle is loose and wiggly. If he's not on the bit, so let me just show you, like if I put him and he's above the bit like this, so if he's not on the bit and he's going like this, now you can see how this muscle down here is more prominent and no longer engaged, and you don't see so much the top part of his neck. Visually, when you're on your horse and your horse is using their top line, you'll see the base of their neck will get fatter because that muscle on the top part of their neck is pushing out. So I'm really focusing on that as I do these transitions, walk, trot, walk, is I want to make sure that he's using that top line muscle. I like to practice the walk, trot, walk transitions on a circle when you're working on building up your horse's top line, because on the circle here, I can really focus on my diagonal aids. So I'm focusing on keeping him off my right leg and into my left rein. And what that does when I'm focusing on my diagonal aids is it helps to engage his top line. So I'm gonna go to the left and do them to the left also. So when I have my horse off the inside leg and into the outside rein, now there he's bracing, like there he's not using his top line. So I'm giving him kick with my left leg and keeping the connection on my right rein. Now he's softened and his neck is round again. And trot. Good boy.
One thing I also want to say, because I mean, her horses are obviously very well trained for dressage, but something for very beginner riders, regardless of what breed your horse is, one tip that really helped me out a lot when I was working on his top line is not so much focusing on your horse being on vertical, just making sure that he's stretching his head long and low and then slowly bring his head up over time. So like Link's head carriage now is on vertical and also really nice and collected for a quarter horse, but it's not as high frame as what you see in a lot of other types of dressage breeds like warm blood breeds. But regardless of the breed of your horse, again, start off by doing long and low and then slowly bring your horse's head up into a collected on vertical frame, meaning let your horse stretch his head all the way down and then slowly bring it up. That will also help build your horse's top line and neck muscles, because I want to make it a point that some horses that don't have the muscle structure for this yet will not be able to hold themselves in a frame like this. They're not going to be strong enough to do that, so they're going to fall out or they're going to try to hollow.
Good. So shoulder 4, supple. No, there you got a little brace. Supple, supple. Walk, walk rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And trot. Good boy. Good boy. So that's the first exercise, is walk, trot, walk transitions. Honestly, you cannot do too many of those transitions. There's something that I think, you know, even with a Grand Prix horse, you're always working on those trot, walk, trot transitions. So the next exercise that I'm going to work on for developing my top line is the rein back. The key to a good rein back is a good halt. So I want to make sure that my horse halts, that he has his pull up the highest point. Good boy. Close my leg and back and forward again. Trot. Good boy. So the reason that the rein back is a really good exercise for building your horse's top line is because the rein back helps to engage your horse's hind end and lower their hind end. So again, forward to the halt and back. Good boy.
I'm actually so glad that she included that in this video because a lot of people don't realize how important it is for your horse to also be collected in the back. This is actually something, if you follow me on Patreon, I've been talking about a little bit in my latest videos because I actually made the mistake of not training or keeping up with Link's collection during the back, which was my fault for not doing that, but it is so important because you don't want your horse hollowing out when you back them up. One thing that a lot of people also don't understand is even though backing up is in a lot of people's view a backward motion, it really is a forward motion for your horse. You have to bring your horse into the bit, into collection, and then allow your horse to step underneath themselves during the back. So really, backing begins with the forward motion of your horse. It's incredibly important to understand equine biomechanics and to have a horse that's nice collected with nice muscle structure. Because when you do all of this basic work, which Amelia really simplifies nicely, it just makes your horse so much better and you so much better as a rider.
The rein back, to be honest, is not Kensington's best move. Good boy. That was pretty good. And trot. But again, when we think about building up our horse's top line, what we want to feel as the rider is that our horse stays soft and supple. Because when your horse is soft and supple, that's when they're using their correct muscles. That's when they're using their back. That's when they're using the top part of their neck. If your horse braces against you and gets strong in the contact, then they're using their underside. They're using their under neck and they're braced in the back. So I always want to make sure that I can soften the inside rein, that my horse stays in the frame. If I glance down at his neck, I want to see that the top part of his neck is kind of fat and that he has a nice arc in his neck. Good boy.
I love that she talks about that because I see so many people that pull their horses on vertical or force their horses on vertical or use tie downs or any of that other crap. That is not beneficial to your horse in any way. If anything, it's just going to cause problems. Your horse should not be forced into these positions. And just because your horse is on vertical does not mean that your horse is collected. I want to make that very clear.
Those are two exercises to work on building your horse's top line. Trot, walk, trot transitions and rein back. If you want to build more of a top line on your horse, it's the combination of exercise and the correct nutrition, like I talked about before. With Kensington, he really started to build his top line more when I was feeding him the correct nutrition, because before he wasn't getting enough protein. So even though I was doing a lot of the exercises and I was starting to even do some harder work like pirouettes, he didn't have the muscles to support the harder work and he ended up getting really sore. But it does take diligence and like being really particular. I think the biggest thing when you want to build your horse's top line is that you need to be able to do these transitions and these movements without your horse bracing in their neck or bracing in their back. And again, that is something that takes time and takes practice. So I hope you enjoyed this video.
I love her. Oh my God, she's great. I literally don't even have that much to say because Amelia is by far one of the best trainers. Now, again, I have not seen all of her videos, so I'm not going to sit there and vouch for every single video she's made. Don't come for me, but I'm just saying that I have seen a good amount, probably more than 100 of her videos, and I've been subscribed to her for quite some time. I love her training. I really do. And honestly, massive thank you to Amelia, really, truly. So thank you again, Amelia. You're the best. If you guys want to follow her, you can definitely check her out. I'll have her in the description down below. Again, I highly recommend her videos for not just English riders, but Western riders as well. It's just very applicable across the board. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to Animal Nutrition Calculator for sponsoring me. You can check them out. It'll be in the description down below, but I love you guys. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.